All right, let's dive deep into the world of bibliomancers. Today, we are breaking down one of the most pivotal chapters yet, Chapter 62. We're going to cover everything, from a wild new plan to deal with a dragon to, honestly, one of the funniest and most unexpected moments in the entire series. So let's just get right into it.
Okay, so Chapter 62, The Dragon, the Dwarves, and the Statue. I mean, what a title, right? We're jumping in right after all that chaos in Red Hollow Vale. You'd think Maria would get a second to catch her breath, but nope. She is immediately launching into a new, incredibly high-stakes plan that is, no joke, gonna change absolutely everything. So we start with this new dragon plan. Maria's got this idea, and it is wildly risky. But the real problem? She's absolutely terrified to tell Ronan about it. I mean, after everything they've just gone through, she's positive this is the thing that's going to make him finally say, I'm out. And what's worse, she's just now realizing how much she really doesn't want him to leave. It's a tough spot, for sure.
And of course, Ronan, being Ronan, starts teasing the plan out of her with his usual charm. With lines like this one. So after a bit of banter, Maria finally caves and just drops the bombshell. She tells him she's going back to Pinty. But this time, she's not there to fight the dragon. No. She's going to do something completely unthinkable. She's going to try and recruit him as an ally. An ally in her coup against her own father.
And this is where you can really see how much Maria has grown as a strategist. She's not just going in there begging. Oh no, she's got a brilliant three-part pitch all worked out. First, she's going to expose her father's deception about her not being a virgin. Second, she's got let's call it a creative solution for the dragon's supply problem, involving her sister. And third, she's going to offer him something he's never had before, actual political power, a seat on her council. It is a genius move. So you can imagine Maria's just holding her breath, waiting for Ronan to storm off. But instead, he doesn't just agree with the plan, he makes it even better. He tells her she should demand the dragon fly her right into the town square for everyone to see. It's this incredible power play, a total PR masterstroke that would scream to the entire kingdom that things are changing. And this right here? This is the moment they really click and become a true team. Okay, next up, the 1-week ultimatum. The plan is set. They hike all the way up to the dragon's lair. You can feel the tension just ratcheting up. Maria is nervous, you can tell, but she's determined. She walks into that massive golden cavern all by herself to make her pitch, leaving Ronan outside to wait. So she gets inside, and the dragon greets her with his usual sarcastic flair, calling her the slutty princess. But just as Maria starts laying out her perfectly crafted plan, the whole mountain starts to shake. There are these huge, loud, banging noises coming from deep inside the rock. The dragon is clearly getting angry, but you can tell it's not at her. Something else is going on. And just like that, Maria's entire negotiation gets thrown right out the window. Her whole plan? Totally irrelevant now. The dragon does not care one bit about her offer. Why? Because he's got a much bigger and way louder problem. Turns out there are dwarves mining deep inside his mountain, and he can't get to them. So he hits her with a demand of his own, and believe me, it is not up for negotiation. Yeah, the dragon just completely flips the script on her. The ultimatum is terrifying. He says, you get the dwarves to stop, or I'm going to solve my noise problem by flying over to your daddy's kingdom and burning the whole thing to the ground. And then he'll just take the castle for his new home. So just like that, this mission has gone from a political coup to stopping a full-blown apocalypse. And the kicker? He gives her a deadline. 7 days. That's it. The pressure is on and the clock is officially, terrifyingly ticking. So, on to the journey to the mine. Maria's definitely shaken, but she's not broken. She and Ronan regroup fast. The mission is completely different now. They've got to find this dwarven mine somewhere on the other side of the mountain and somehow convince them to stop. And as they're riding off, Ronan decides, hey, what better time than a life-or-death quest for a little magic lesson? And it's a really cool new trick he teaches her. It's a 2-part spell combo. First, she learns a hearing spell so she can listen in on things from like 200 meters away. Then, the second part is a voice-throwing spell, so she can perfectly mimic any voice she hears. Of course, her first few tries are hilarious disasters. I think at one point she accidentally yells a poem right into her horse's ear. But eventually, she gets the hang of it. And you just know this skill is going to be super important later. Now for an unexpected welcome. So, As they get closer to where they think the mine is, Maria tries out her new spell, and it works. She hears the sounds of a smithy and knows they're in the right place. They get ready for a fight. They're approaching super cautiously, but right away, something feels weird. There's no one on guard. No scouts, no lookouts. The entrance is just wide open. And this is where the chapter just takes a hard left turn into Bizarro Town. They ride into this clearing, and immediately dwarves start grabbing for their axes and hammers. They're ready for a fight. But then they stop. They start pointing, and then they start cheering. Full-on, loud, excited cheering, aimed right at Maria.
And then this young dwarf steps out and says this line, and it is just surreal. He calls her Slutty Princess, but with total respect, like he's greeting a queen. And then he asks if she brought more statuettes. Maria is just completely speechless, totally stunned. Meanwhile, Ronan is just losing it, trying so hard not to fall off his horse from laughing. It's an absolutely priceless moment.
So this is the big question, right? How on earth did a princess who's basically been a hermit her whole life suddenly become a celebrity to a bunch of reclusive dwarves? What in the world is going on here? So instead of the big confrontation she was bracing for, Maria gets a hero's welcome. The leader of the dwarves, Thane Grimmer Stonefingers, comes out and invites them to a huge banquet. A banquet in her honor. And as they're led inside, they realize this mine isn't just a hole in the ground. It's a work of art, with these incredible, detailed carvings everywhere. Okay, on to the main event, the princess and the statue. This is where we finally get some answers. They're led into this huge banquet hall, given the seats of honor right next to the Thane, and the whole place just explodes with cheers for Maria. And as another huge cheer goes up, Maria finally spots it, the reason for all of this. Right in the middle of the hall is a 20-foot-tall, completely nude marble statue of herself. It's carved perfectly, down to the exact pose she struck back in Red Hollow Vale. You can just imagine her face. She's mortified, absolutely mortified. And Ronan, of course, is about to have an aneurysm trying not to laugh. So the Thane finally explains everything. It turns out they got their hands on a shipment of those little magical statuettes of Maria. And apparently, they were a massive hit. So popular, in fact, that the dwarves were literally getting into fistfights over them. So there you have it. The mystery is solved. Maria's one-time modeling gig has accidentally made her a cultural icon among the dwarves. And the banquet itself is just epic. We're talking course after course of incredible food, mugs of dwarven ale that could probably knock out a giant, and some seriously intense entertainment. You've got jugglers throwing actual knives and flaming hatchets around. It's a proper dwarven party. But then, as the night starts to wind down, things get quiet. The background music stops, and one of the bards steps forward, walks right up to the head table, and stops directly in front of Maria. And then he starts to sing. And the title of the song? The Ballad of the Slutty Prince and the Virgin Cult. And that's the moment it all sinks in for Maria. Her wild, scandalous adventures aren't just secrets or rumors anymore. They are now officially the stuff of legend. So that leaves us with the biggest question of all. Maria walked in here expecting a battle, and somehow walked out a celebrity. She now has this completely unexpected, kind of bizarre leverage over the dwarves. But is it enough? Can she really use her accidental fame to convince them to stop mining? And can't she do it before that 7-day clock runs out and the dragon decides to redecorate her father's kingdom with fire? We'll have to wait and see.